Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to challenge a really fundamental assumption about growing up, and we're inspired by the author Adora Svitak. What if the whole goal isn't just for kids to learn from us, the adults, but for adults to actually start learning from kids? So let's just dive right in with a question for you. When was the last time somebody called you childish? For most of us, that stings a little, right? It implies we're being irrational, maybe irresponsible. But what if that word says way more about our own biases than it actually says about kids? You see, the whole idea here is that we've been using this word completely wrong. It's time we really take a hard look at what childish behavior actually looks like, and, maybe more importantly, who's really responsible for it.
Okay, just look at this comparison for a second. It's pretty stark. On one side, you have these huge, world-altering and often destructive things like wars and colonization, all driven by adults. And on the other side, you have profound wisdom and courage from kids like Anne Frank and Ruby Bridges, or just incredible generosity, like Charlie Simpson raising money for Haiti. It really makes you ask, who are the truly childish ones here?
So, you see where this is going. The point is, if the very traits we slap that childish label on, irrationality, irresponsibility, are so common in adult actions, then the word itself is just broken. It's an age-discriminatory label that really doesn't line up with reality at all.
But this isn't just about ditching a negative word. No, it's about flipping the script entirely and embracing a supposedly childish trait that might just be the key to all progress. And that's the power of having big, maybe even irrational dreams.
You know how it is. Adults, we often shut down big ideas before they even get started. We're weighed down by what we know, by past failures, by all the practicalities. But kids, they're not held back by all the reasons why not. They can imagine a perfect world, a utopia, where nobody's hungry and everything's free. And this quote it nails it. That kind of hopeful, out there thinking isn't naive. It's the absolute foundation of all progress. You literally cannot build a better reality until you first dared to dream about what that looks like. Okay, so let's check out a fantastic real-world example of this in action. Over in Tacoma, Washington, there's this program where kids get to submit their wildest ideas for glass art. Now, this is so cool. The professional artists, the experts at the museum, they admit they get their best ideas from children. And why is that? It's because kids aren't thinking about the limitations of glassblowing. They just dream up something incredible and let the experts figure out how to make it happen. And what you get is these wonderfully strange, innovative creations that an adult, trapped by their own knowledge, would probably never even think of. I mean, who else is going to come up with a bacon boy who has meat vision? That's the kind of creativity that pushes everything forward. So this begs the question, right? If kids have all this creative juice and wisdom, why aren't we learning from them more often? What is holding us back from this kind of relationship? Well, it really boils down to one single powerful barrier: a lack of trust. It usually comes from a fear of losing control. And what happens when you don't trust someone? You put restrictions on them. This is a pretty funny, but honestly a perfect illustration of that principle. Doubt leads to control. And that simple dynamic you see in a family, it scales up to how our entire society works. Just think about it for a second. From school handbooks that are basically a long list of don'ts to super restricted internet access, society's default attitude towards kids is all about control that comes from a place of distrust. It's the same basic dynamic you see in oppressive regimes that are scared of losing control. The scale is different, sure, but that power imbalance is definitely there. But, there's something that can be even more damaging than all those restrictions. And that's the simple act of underestimating what kids are capable of right from the start. This is such a critical takeaway. Our expectations basically become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we set the bar low, kids will meet it. But they are absolutely capable of flying so much higher if we just give them a real challenge. I mean, Svitak's own story is a perfect example. Her parents didn't have low expectations. They read her Aristotle, and when she fell in love with writing, they gave her the tools she needed. And what happened? She wrote hundreds of stories and started dreaming about getting published. And then you get this moment, which is the irony is almost unbelievable. A major publisher of children's books told her they didn't work with children.
It's a frustrating but perfect example of just how deep this dismissive attitude runs.
Okay, so where do we go from here? How do we build a world that actually benefits from the wisdom of everyone in it, no matter how old they are? Well, it's going to require a new, truly two-way relationship. And this right here is the ultimate goal. Real progress isn't about creating clones of ourselves. It's about empowering the next generation so they can become better adults than we've been, so they can solve the problems we couldn't and build a future we can only dream of. So here's the game plan. It's a clear call to action. It all starts with listening. From there, it moves to trust. Then, it means we have to raise our expectations. And finally, we have to actively create the opportunities for kids to meet and even blow past those expectations.
And this quote, wow, it frames exactly what's at stake here. We shouldn't be passing down our unsolved problems generation after generation, like some kind of terrible family heirloom. By empowering kids, we give all of humanity a chance to finally break that cycle.
So the final question is really for all of us. On one hand, you've got a world that is desperate for new leaders and fresh ideas. On the other hand, you have kids who are just waiting for the opportunity to lead and succeed. So are we, as adults, finally ready to make that match?